Hi, everyone. Welcome to day two of Striking Cancer Out. I am BugDr, and I'm here with my trusty pal, Zero Counts.
Hello.
And yeah, he's going to commentate our way through both StarTropics 1 and 2. So
I'm doing my
um,
best.
yeah, we're gonna play the entire StarTropics series for you on this lovely morning. So um, yeah, and with that, I'm probably just going to get started here because we can explain a lot of stuff as we go. There's a lot of overworld time, so um, yeah. Here's hoping this all goes well. Three, two, one, go.
All right. So, for those who do not know, this is StarTropics on the NES, released in 1990. You play as Mike Jones. He's a 15-year-old ace pitcher who's coming to Sea Island to visit his uncle, Uncle Steve Jones. And you're gonna talk to some village people here, and then go into the hut and
Not
talk
the village people,
not the
but
village people, just
some
you know.
village people.
And then you're gonna talk to the chief here to find out where your uncle is. The chief informs you that your uncle's not here. He's actually been abducted, and nobody knows where he is. And he says you need to go and find your uncle. You need to save him. Find out where he is. And he gives you a weapon, which is a yo-yo, which is totally a weapon.
Yeah,
Especially when you have
weapon.
an ace pitcher arm like Mike. You'll kind of notice that this part of the game sort of looks kind of like an RPG with the overworld and the town and talking to NPCs and stuff. But I assure you that's far from the truth. This is not an RPG. This is as you get into the first dungeon here, you'll see that it quickly shifts to like a top-down perspective, similar to like a Legend of Zelda. Yeah, we'll see that right here.
Yeah, I almost got blocked in by the red dress chick, but she luckily went around me.
Yeah, that unfortunately can happen sometimes. So now you'll notice you've got this top-down perspective. One of the things that you'll notice that is different right off the bat is Mike sort of runs on a grid system similar to like a chessboard, where he can only move on certain tiles, and he can't change direction until he's completely moved to the next tile on the screen. What this kind of allows us to do is sort of map out the movement on the screen. If there's tiles on the map, similar to what Bug is jumping over now, you'll jump between those tiles. If there's one space between the tiles, you can jump between them. If there's two spaces, Mike cannot make that jump. Make sure to take note of that for later, because something will happen later that changes that. You'll notice Bug sort of attacked an enemy there that seemingly was not in his way. It's not because he's a sadistic speedrunner. It's because I mean, that might be part of it. But if you kill enemies in this game, you can actually reduce the score count at the end of the stage. You get more points for the less enemies that you kill, and in some cases that actually helps us out. So, all right, we're coming up to the first boss. This game isn't riddled with very many like glitches or tricks or anything like that, but this boss fight is one of them. We're actually going to use.
Fight?
Oh yeah, you're right. There's no boss fight here. We're going to use the iframes from the sea serpent's attack to just jump right through and skip it. All right, there's going to be some crowd participation here at the end of the dungeon. Wow, you've done it.
So,
if you would like to type that into the chat at the end of every single dungeon, I'll make sure to let you know when that's going to happen. Give BugDr some words of encouragement.
Encouragement, yes.
All right, so we get to the other side of the island, and we find Babu here. Babu is Uncle Steve's assistant, and he confirms that Uncle Steve is missing, and he acts a little weird about it. He seems to know some information that he's not telling us. But anyway, he gives us the code to get into the submarine, and we go off to the next island.
I would just like to say at this moment, because that dungeon went well and Snake behaved, we're actually 2 seconds ahead of world record right now.
Oh boy, world record pace! Let's go.
World record pace. What could possibly go wrong in this game?
All right, so you'll notice that we are now on chapter 2. This game is split up into chapters. This chapter is called Dolphins because there are indeed dolphins in this chapter,
as you have seen.
Yeah.
Dolphins exist in this chapter.
So we come across the dolphin mother who tells us that her son has been kidnapped and we need to go to the nearby island and save them. This dungeon also, or this chapter also tells us about, it kind of teaches us about hidden walls. So you'll notice that BugDr just kind of walked through a mountain there. If you were
again, just walking into rocks.
Yeah, if you're able to turn up the quality of those old CRTs, you could actually see there's a little bit of a shadow on the side of the mountains there that sort of tells the player that there's something there that you can actually go through. You'll also notice there's
incredibly subtle.
Yeah, you'll notice there's a big heart on the island here. If you were to grab that heart, it would actually give you an extra heart container. We don't grab it though. One, because it doesn't. It wastes time, and two, it doesn't matter because at the end of the chapter, we'll get awarded a big heart for however many we didn't grab in the chapter. So, all right. So the Dungeon 2 is a little bit more execution heavy, and it also is a really good example of what it's probably the primary speedrun tactic in this game, the buffering. You'll notice that BugDr just kind of jumped up in the air, did a spin for no apparent reason. It wasn't just to flaunt his stuff. It was actually to set up a buffering trick so that you land on that sinking tile when the sinking tile is out of the water. That's all done intentionally. So the way the buffering works is essentially as long as you if you throw a second input onto your controller during the animation of the first input, it will automatically throw that input on the first possible frame after the animation. What that allows us to do is it allows us to string together a bunch of inputs throughout portions of the run and pretty much set up. We can learn the frame numbers for different animations and chain them together so that we can land pretty much anywhere we want to on the frames that we want to within reason. So if you ever see Bug just jumping up in the air, doing a spin, or throwing a yo-yo where it seems like there's not really any enemies, it's probably for good reason, and it's probably setting up a buffer strap.
Yeah, the rooms are pretty well optimized and have a lot of tricks for just like kind of just getting through them in the exact required number of frames, which is pretty cool.
So we're coming up on the second boss here. This is Octo the Huge, named that because he's an octopus and he is indeed huge. We picked up a magic item called the Snowman, and we're going to use that as soon as Octo comes down, which is completely RNG based. And that freezes everything on the screen. We have to hit Octo 50 times to defeat him. This is all buffered attacks right here. If you were to mash the button, you would actually end up attacking slower than you would through buffering. This is because mashing will actually kind of not confuse the game, but it could happen where you throw in an input not at the right time, and there'll be a space, and so mashing is the optimal way to attack.
It's more of like you're like kind of going for like a rhythm when you attack in this game, and you really need to like You need to adjust that because the timing of it depends on how far you are from your enemy. So when something's like closing in on you from close range, you need to adjust your timing based on like their distance and everything. It's yeah,
right.
Pretty interesting, honestly.
Yeah, for the Octo the Huge fight, if an enemy is right next to you, like Octo is in that instance, the speed of the mash is, or not the mash, excuse me, the speed of the buffer is actually 360 beats per minute. So if you want, you can go grab an NES controller at home and turn on your metronome, set it to 360 beats per minute, and practice your buffering at home.
Thankfully, I have my metronome right here.
That's right. There you go. Oh, tool-assisted speedrun. You heard it here, folks. Yes, thank you, chat. Wow, you've done it.
Yes, thank you, everyone, for all the encouragement. It's excellent to see. Yes, now we're on to Chapter 3. This is like an incredibly gigantic chapter and an infamous one for sending people away from this game because it's relentless. There's 5 dungeons in it, and it has a pretty significant difficulty spike, and a lot of random enemies. So it's definitely a troublesome part, but it's also a pretty fun one to play through in the run.
Absolutely, yeah. It, like Bug said, it has 5 dungeons. Most of the chapters have 1 or 2, and it doesn't refill all of your health after every dungeon. So it can be really tricky because mistakes will carry on to dungeons after each dungeon. So this dungeon in particular is very RNG heavy. These enemies here, especially, are called the Flying Monkeys. Their movement is pretty much entirely random. You can sort of tell where they're going because they turn that direction right before they move, but it's very few frames, and this room can cause a lot of headaches. That actually went really well, though, so congrats.
They kind of were being weird, but it worked out okay. And the dodos behaved perfectly before that. They did perfect patterns so far, so it's pretty cool.
Yes, in this room, we'll see more of those dodos, and we'll also see a fairly infamous StarTropics enemy, the boneheads, or the ostriches with human skulls, or what I like to call nightmare fuel.
Nightmare ostriches with human
nightmare ostriches with human skulls. This was the first example of a dark room in the speedrun. The dark rooms can either be lit up one of 2 ways. Either there's a switch in the room that you can hit to turn the lights on, or there is an item called the lantern that you can pick up to turn on.
Wait, there's
the lights.
A lantern in this game?
I assure you, we will not be seeing the lantern in this game because, yeah, screw that. That takes too much time.
Screw that. Who needs to see the room layout? Not us, certainly.
No way. This is Miracola. Miracola is the largest town in the game, and also you have to talk to a lot of people in here. This game works on the towns work on a flag system where it won't let you progress into certain places unless you talk to a certain number of NPCs, certain specific NPCs in most cases. So that's why Bug is chatting it up with everybody on the island.
This is a lot of the StarTropics speedrunners want to find the legendary Miracola skip, but it's it is going to remain a legend, I think.
If anybody wants to become really good friends with folks in the StarTropics community, just discover the Miracola skip and we'll love you forever.
Yeah.
It's honestly like the towns can be a real time sink, but obviously they're almost identical every single time. It's kind of a nice little downtime between dungeons, a little breather.
Yeah, my brain just kind of shuts off during this kind of stuff and gives me a moment to just kind of gather my thoughts and think about how much I love StarTropics and how thankful I am for it every day of my life.
So to catch you up on the story, essentially Mike crashed onto this island. His submarine is destroyed. He can't use it anymore, so he walked to Miracola, and he finds out that the chief's daughter, Benanette, is asleep. She's under some kind of spell, and she's been asleep for some time. And he says, "Well, we'll fix your submarine if you can wake up my daughter." So we have to go to the mountain hermit, who has a spell that can wake up his daughter, Benanette. BugDr's gonna take a damage boost through those snakes. Pull off very nice, very execution-heavy strat there. Pulled off very nicely. We have another dark room here. This one's a fairly interesting little puzzle. Which you won't really
favorite room in the game.
Yes. So you're supposed to use those snakes to sort of determine what path is safe to jump across there when it's dark. The snake that moves the furthest is on the path that you can jump across. This dungeon also has a lot. I haven't really mentioned the sub weapons. There's a lot of them in this dungeon, so I guess I'll talk about them now. We have a baseball bat here, and also a slingshot. There are various sub weapons in the game that you can use. They all have different amounts of ammo, but they all have different properties. So, like the slingshot does twice as much damage as the yo-yo, and it can travel a little bit farther. The bat can attack any enemy surrounding Mike, and I believe it also does 2 damage.
Yes, it does. Yep.
The bat we don't really use for. Oh, nice! Close call there.
Screw you, Mad Muddy.
The bat we don't ever really use for attack purposes in the run, unfortunately, but it does have a unique number of frames, so there's some frame bufferings that we can use the bat for. Now we're coming across or up to the next boss. This is Magma the Fierce, named that because he is made of magma, and he is indeed fierce. That's what you call a callback.
Yes.
All right. This is probably one of the more frustrating bosses for casual players, just because it doesn't really tell you what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to hit these 2 switches on the sides of magma, and then magma will drop into the water below. Some people like to criticize the game for putting a fire elemental boss above a giant body of water, but I like to think that Magma the Fierce is actually the island's water heater.
Yes.
So, unfortunately, the people of Miracle will have to suffer from cold showers for the rest of eternity.
We'll find another fire deity to power their heat, their water heater.
Wow, you've done it.
Yeah, there's a faster way to actually get through the magma room. It costs like 2 hearts to do though, so I generally don't do it during a marathon. But it saves like a second or 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I played it safe. Use the bat buffer strat, the classic.
Yes.
Now on to everyone's favorite dungeon coming up.
Yes, indeed. Here we are in the graveyard. Really wish you could just skip this graveyard.
You just want to skip the whole game, sounds like.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Why do you even run it?
So this is the graveyard. Named that because it's in a graveyard. These enemies here. Oh my god.
What a jerk.
Those enemies, oh shoot, what are they called? What's called?
Bone dogs.
Bone dog. Oh, duh.
They're called jerks.
Bone dogs. Bone dogs, because they're dogs made of bones.
They're dogs made of bones, yeah. And the skulls are called skulls because they're skulls.
Oh, got it.
Just want to clear that up.
All right, so sorry, gathering myself here. You'll notice that BugDr sort of jumped over the water there. If he would have not jumped over the water, he would have got hit by an invisible enemy. In this next room, it's going to be super apparent that Bug's doing some crazy stuff. He's sort of doing some twists and turns and jumps and who knows what's going on. I'll tell you. There's invisible ghost enemies in that room that you can only see by using an item called the Rod of Sight. we don't have the Rod of Sight because it takes time to go get it, and we know where all the enemies are. So there's a buffer strat to get through there, so you don't have to worry about getting hit by any of them.
Did staircase skip.
Yes, this dungeon is fairly trolly, being that there are a lot of false exits. That one next to that slime in the previous room. Excuse me, jelly. I'm not going to live that down.
Jeez.
So this is another one of the dark rooms. This is actually the dungeon where you can find the lantern item to light up this area. We don't use it though because we use a buffering strat, and hopefully we're good here. All right, we're good. Everything's great. As long as everything is buffered appropriately, you'll make it through that dark room every time. There are sinking tiles in that room, so it can get a little scary if you mess something up. Thankfully, there's some audio cues you can use. The boss music played there, which is weird, right? Because now the boss music isn't playing anymore. This game will do that occasionally, where it will kind of trick you with either a false boss or it'll scare you with boss music when there's not actually a boss coming up. It's just some of the joys of StarTropics.
It creep you out.
So BugDr just used the Rod of Sight there in that room, so you can finally see that there are really ghosts hiding in this dungeon.
I'm not just jumping for no reason.
Unfortunately, we have to use the Rod of Sight to make those ghosts appear because you can't hit them unless they're visible.
Got the dirty mirror frame.
Oh man, there you go. Just ate it up. These are the dim hags. They look a lot like whiz robes. You have to use the sub weapon that Mike has right there, called the magic mirror, to reflect their attacks back at them. If you failed to collect the magic mirror before getting to that room, you would have no choice but to die and make sure that you get the magic mirror before getting there. Nice mummy room. You have to kill only 4 of the mummies in that room of the 6 to progress. Keep track of which ones are which, so that we don't accidentally end up killing ones that we don't have to. This room can be a little frustrating because you have to deal with both skulls and dim hags. Alright, here we are at the next boss. Well, where is he? Oh, there he is. Oh my god. This is Maxi. Maxi just kind of hangs out at the top of the screen and goes boo.
Dead.
And
he's dead.
Bug uses the bolas to attack from far away, and well, the boss is done. That's it.
Yeah.
That's actually
he can be a tricky boss, just because there's a lot of stuff shooting at you and stuff like that. But once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad.
It's one of my favorite bosses in the game, just thematically, like going into an empty room and having to use the Rod of Sight. Yeah,
what's this weird room? Oh, there's a giant ghost. And we got the so we're at we ended at 4 hearts there, which is good. So in the upcoming dungeon, we actually get to skip a few hearts because we want to. In this game, you really want to keep your health high. Partly because this game doesn't mess around, but partly also because your weapon. So we're going to get a weapon upgrade in a moment, which is only active when we have 6 red hearts. And so through StarTropics, it's really, really beneficial throughout the run to make sure that you stay at max health, because you want to always have your stronger weapon so you're killing stuff faster and also adding some distance to your weapon.
Don't get bumped. Don't be a chump.
What?
I don't know.
Wasn't in the rehearsal.
Sorry. Oh, that was going off script.
Yeah.
All right. So this is where are we? We're in the castle of Shikola.
Yes.
Casually, there's a reason why we we would have come here prior to going to the graveyard. The reason we were in the graveyard is because we were trying to get the fortune teller's mystic crystal ball back from the bottom of the lake. That's why we drained the lake at the end of the graveyard dungeon. But it's not required to talk to the fortune teller before going in the dungeon, so we don't. But we give the fortune teller back their crystal ball, and they allow us entry into the castle of Shikola by giving us a disguise. The castle of Shikola is populated entirely by women, and if you are not a woman, you cannot enter the castle of Shikola. So the fortune teller gives us a disguise to allow us entry. We talk to the queen of Shikola. She commends us for our for defeating the enemies in the graveyard, and to reward us.
Abilities.
Yes, rewards us with an upgrade to our weapon. So now our yo-yo is what's called a shooting star, which is a flail type weapon that shoots a little projectile. So now our attack goes farther and does twice as much damage. Unfortunately, we can only use it if we have at least 6 full hearts. So Bug is currently at 4. Thankfully, there are some...
Abracadabra.
Hang on. Abracadabra. We have to say abracadabra there to get across the gap. Otherwise, it's not going to appear. But yes, now we have 6 hearts, so now Bug can use the shooting star, which is integral into for the next dungeon. So hopefully Bug doesn't take any damage in this one.
Don't jinx it. I see what you're trying to do there.
Yeah.
There we go.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mickey. Yes, I'm sorry, abracadabra, or the more appropriate abracadadradicola.
Yes. Much more appropriate.
All right, we did not take any damage there, so Bug can go into the next dungeon happy. All right, this is the last. This is the last of the 5 dungeons in Chapter 3. This is the Hermit's Mountain.
The heck you going?
He's just coming with you.
Got to get away, just running away from this crazy kid running around with a ball and chain. Come here, you little skull.
Got some more ostriches with human skulls. Oh, this is a new tile that we haven't seen yet. Those little white tiles are, I don't know what they are, but they sink right away when you land on them. I've heard some people call them ice blocks, but who knows?
They're stressful tiles.
Yeah, they sink a few frames after you land on them, so buffering a jump off of them is super important. Your chiclets, yeah, okay. There you go.
Oh God, nothing I can do there.
Oh jeez, wow. They
That's
really
okay.
They work together.
As soon as you go in that room and they're not appearing right away, I'm just like, oh well, I'm definitely gonna get.
They're scheming. They're scheming, just rubbing their little hands together.
Yeah,
gotta get you, Mike.
Rubbing their bald heads. Get them.
So you'll notice by all the skulls in the darkly red colored water that this is a pretty dangerous part of the dungeon. Many adventurers have fallen into the deep.
That's the true lore.
Yes. These enemies are super scary. They're called goblins, and as soon as you attack them, they will charge towards you faster than almost any other enemy in the game.
Yeah, they're really quick.
Thankfully, that's the only time that we see them in the entire game is that room. So
that's not true.
Oh, sorry. No, there's one more
coming up.
There's one more coming up that we actually have to kill. Hey, we got good bully pattern.
Yep.
Here's another goblin that slipped away.
Oh, and he's gone.
And he's dead. There you go. Okay, now they're gone. No more goblins.
Yeah,
Yes,
these bullies take like 6 hits from the shooting star, but then 11 when you got the yo-yo. So they're it's just one of those like real like one of those cases where it really kind of showcases how different it can be if you have a different weapon. Like the amount of time it adds to every enemy you kill, just it really sinks your time.
Yeah, those bullies are pretty scary. If they run into you, I think it does like 2.5 hearts of damage. So you really don't want to get hit by them. But you'll notice that Bug gets pretty up close and personal with a lot of the enemies in the game, and the reason for that is we sort of brushed on it earlier, but attacking enemies from closer or from like right next to them takes a lot less time because the frames of animation are a lot fewer when you're right next to an enemy, so you can buffer quicker. So it behooves the player to get close to the enemies and attack as quickly as possible. And that's why we get really close to those bullies, because you can manage to attack 11 times.
Yeah. Good use of the word behoove.
Yeah, I like that word.
That's I didn't expect that. That's pretty impressive. A little bit of a flex.
Yes, indeed. That's the end of chapter 3. And now
you get a big old break.
Yeah, chapter 4. This is a good time to go and grab a snack or use the restroom if you want. This is
watch a movie.
Yeah, something like that. This is another thing that a lot of people would love to skip in the run. Like I said, we don't really want to play the game at all. We just want to skip it all. But so to continue the story, we successfully got the spell from the Hermit's Mountain. We brought it back, woke up Bananette with the spell, and they fixed our submarine, and now we moved on to this next island, and oh my god, we just got swallowed by a whale.
That's never happened before. What is going on?
I don't really know what to do here. Okay, so I guess we're in the belly of a whale now. So chapter 4, we find ourselves inside of the belly of this whale, and inside the belly of the whale we find, who is it? It's Babu. It's our uncle's assistant here. And he's also got swallowed by the same whale. It's a small world.
Whales just kind of gobbling everyone up.
Yeah. So
as whales do,
I guess. Yeah. So Babu tells us that he was out looking for our uncle, and he tells us that he used to have a lighter on him, but he dropped it somewhere when he got swallowed by the whale. So Mike is searching the guts, the innards of the whale to find this lone
Here we
Zippo lighter
through the spleen.
Yes. This is all just buffered inputs. Not much to be said. Pretty much the same thing every time. But I guess it's a fun time to talk about one of the more infamous parts of StarTropics, which is the letter. So when we're done with this section of the... when we're done with this little dungeon, if you want to call it that, we will get out back onto the island, and there is a code that we have to input in the submarine. And what that code does is it allows Navcom, our little robotic operating buddy on the submarine, to...
Why did you specifically call him that?
Oh, because he's designed after Rob, the robot.
What? I can't believe it. This is the first I've heard of this.
So you have to give him this code so that he can locate where your uncle is, and they won't let you proceed unless you have that code. Babu tells you that your uncle gave you a letter, but you never actually got said letter in the game. That's because the letter is actually provided to you outside the game, IRL, in the packaging attached to the back of the manual for the game.
Yeah. Luckily, I have my letter right here that I can read from to put the code in. Otherwise, I just can't even complete this run.
Yeah, Babu tells you that you need to get the letter wet. And if you do that, and you actually like spray water or dip your letter in water in real life, it'll reveal a special code, which is 747 megahertz. And then you can put that in and then proceed. If you didn't have the letter, I guess you're just out of luck.
I guess.
I have talked to a couple people in my chat when I'm playing this game that have talked about not being able to get past chapter 4 or just had to guess all of the numbers.
Yeah. And unfortunately, the problem is that usually when people start going through all the numbers, they start with 1.
Right.
Which is unfortunately not the closest way to start it.
Alright, so BugDr just picked up a fresh worm. Let's get some fresh worm hype in the chat.
Fresh worm hype, let's go.
Yes. We need that worm for some little story beats coming up here. So once we got out of the whale, we now Navcom has the ability to track where our uncle is. He's not on this island though. We have to get off this island. Unfortunately, the only way off the island is through this strait north of here, which is currently being blocked by a ship. And although we are a submarine, we cannot go underneath the ship. So we have to find a way to drop the ship and be able to get through. So this is Belcola. We have to talk to a bunch of villagers here, and then go into the hut and talk to the chief, as we have done in many of the other dungeon or islands in the game.
Last village of the game, though.
Yes, thank goodness.
Yes, thank goodness. When is Belcola skip?
Sick of having to talk to all these people.
God.
All right, so we talked to the chief, and he talks about Captain Bell, the owner of the ship, from like 300 years ago. There were some pirates that were trying to like attack the island or something, and he saved the island by parking his ship in the strait so that they couldn't get through. And the pirates were like, "Oh, nuts!" And so there's apparently a secret mechanism on the island that allows us to sink the ship that no one has operated in 300 years. And so, in order to figure that out, we have to talk to the parrot, which is the great grandson of Captain Bell's parrot, I believe.
Yep.
And we talk to the parrot. We give him the fresh worm because he will not chat with us unless we give him a gift. No gift, no chat. And he tells us he gives us a code of sorts. He says, "Do me so far, do me." Which is not him coming on to you. He's actually he's just giving you a code for this piano in here, this organ. You're supposed to read it as do mi so fa do mi, which are notes on a piano. And when you input those notes, it opens up this secret passageway in the back of Captain Bell's memorial. All right, I want everybody to get some Fs in chat here.
F
for the F room.
It's the F room, oh baby.
F. Yo. All right, and now we are coming
Good job, everyone.
to...
Good job, chat.
Yeah, thank you very much.
I see an E in there. Ban that person.
You're done. You're out. All right, so this is Dungeon 5. Dungeon 5 is pretty interesting in that it's less about enemies and more about obstacles. This is definitely the Indiana Jones style stage in the game. Lots of traps. You'll notice here that the floor started to break beneath Mike's feet, so you have to escape really quickly. We have spears coming through the walls.
Sorry, I've just never seen these before.
This is a complete first playthrough. BugDr is doing this entirely blind.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean the game or the dungeon threw the boss music at us like right away, right? And oh, there it is again. Now we got some spikes coming up from the ground. Rats all over the floor. It's really scary. A lot of traumatic experiences in this dungeon for Bug.
I don't know if I'll recover after this.
So we have another terribly scary screen over here. A lot of tiles. Thankfully, we know where the button is that opens the door.
That's it.
Yeah. Oh, God. It really got away from you there. All right.
Yeah.
Here we are. This is the first of 3 giant boulders that we need to sneak past. And, all right, awesome. Bug got the blue bowling ball skip there. Basically, by doing some buffering and attacking the blue bowling ball, he was able to get past it in an earlier cycle than is usually possible casually. Saves you about, I don't know, like 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, it's like 2 seconds or something like that.
Yeah. We got some cool enemy manipulation here. When those snakes see you, they start charging towards you, so we use that to our advantage. Deal with these dodos. And now we got the next giant bowling ball, the green bowling ball. I think these are actually called megatons in the game.
Yes, that is correct.
But they look like bowling balls, so that's what we're going to call them. Alright, we did some buffering techniques there to sneak past the green bowling ball on almost the exact frame.
Yeah.
Exact last frame that you can to exit that room. We got our old friend the ghosts back.
The ghosts.
Yeah, have to make that
my
ghost
friend,
appear.
The ghosts.
Let's see. What are these? Little pinballs? Gotta attack them to get them to move. Uh-oh. Well, I'm just gonna take it. Just take it.
It's a weird...
we'll be fine.
Weird pencil pattern. Watch this. 50-50 spear's gonna get me. Yeah, fucking knew it. I mean, I darn tootin' knew it.
Darn tootin'. Alright, here's the last.
Now it's
the
gonna be
last
extra
megaton.
scary.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quiet here. Okay.
Play it real safe. Because I don't fucking like this thing. I mean, I don't darn tootin' like this thing.
Yeah, this
Hey, we're good.
it is lore in the StarTropics speedrun community that bowling ball is covered in the blood of previous BugDrs.
Yeah, previous BugDr corpses.
Yeah, you can stop the bowling balls by attacking them, and unfortunately with the yo-yo you only have so much range, so it's kind of tough to hit them. So you ideally want to get into that room with more than 6 health, but well.
While Radium says there's literally 0% chance Bug was making it through this run without swearing. It's a fact. It's a hard thing for me to not do. You know, everyone, write 07 in chat to salute Captain Bell. Or else.
And the sinking of his ship.
Yeah.
It's just respectful, you know?
Yeah. So that spear that hit me before the red bowling ball room, it just has a 50-50 chance of hitting you. And of course, it chose today, of all days, to shoot me in the kidney. Yeah, it knew there was a marathon going on. It was just like, all right, I'm shooting a frame earlier.
Gotta turn it up to 11.
Yeah.
All right. Now that the ship is sunk, they no longer have that beautiful memorial to their captain, but it's fine because now we can go and find our uncle. In Chapter 6. Chapter 6 is called
Unky
Reunion. Unky Steve. Chapter 6 is called Reunion, which is a bit of a spoiler, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it is.
I guess it doesn't say who you're reuniting with, but Anyway, I won't say. So this is like an
Babu.
archipelago.
Babu again.
Yes, Babu, you get reunited with
back.
Babu. Get out of here, Babu. So this is like an archipelago of islands. It's a giant maze. You have to use these tiles that you can dive into with your submarine to find your way to where your uncle presumably is. There's a lot of we're going to skip most of the islands, well, all of the islands in this area, but they're just riddled with fun NPCs and secret items and stuff that don't necessarily do anything, but just add a little bit of humor and flavor to the game. But yeah, it's
especially flavor with that delicious apple.
Yeah, I didn't even do that on purpose. That was good. So yeah, we know exactly what the fastest way to go is. So we skip all that, and then Navcom starts yelling at us. He's like, "Captain, here's you gotta go this many tiles north." So it's really obnoxious when he tells us all. Oh, well,
just wanted to hear him talk a couple times.
My ears.
It was actually that was my name. Oh, I'm gonna do this blindfolded, by the way.
Oh yeah. Here we go.
Just gotta trust me that my eyes are closed.
The first dungeon of Chapter 6, Bug can do entirely blindfolded.
I can do it framed perfectly and everything.
All right, last room.
Yeah, that's it. Did it.
All right, congratulations.
Man,
huge applause.
That was one of the tougher times I've done
that. Yeah. All right, here comes the real first dungeon of the run, or Chapter 6. This is where the game really starts to ramp up the difficulty. There are a lot more enemies, and they are a lot more menacing, and also the game likes to throw multiple bosses at us as well. You notice that BugDr just picked up an item there that turned Mike's shirt orange. That's not all it did. It also allowed Mike, for that screen only, to jump between two tiles instead of, or jump over a gap of two tiles instead of just one. So he just picked it up again. It's called the anklet, I believe.
Yeah, that's right.
So unfortunately, it only works on the screen that you pick it up in. So yeah. Short expiration on that. But yeah, this is just one example of Chapter 6 really throwing it at Mike here. Just a whole bunch of enemies in small spaces. But we're coming up to the first boss of this dungeon. This is Turboss. Turboss is basically just a reskin of Octo the Huge. So what we want to do is we want to wait until Turboss comes down, which will happen who the hell knows when. there it goes.
There we go.
And you got the one cycle. Very good. Yeah, that was really nice. Yeah,
I'll take that behavior.
Got to grab the anklet during the death animation, which is ideal. And that's the first boss down. So normally, casually, you'd get to that boss and you'd be like, oh, great. Finish this dungeon. But nope, there's more. But wait, there's more.
This is the DLC of this dungeon. They added an extra half to it about a year ago using the internet, which the NES can definitely connect to.
If only. Please, Daddy Nintendo, give us more StarTropics. Okay, we just picked up the cleats, which are a super cool item. They're just normal baseball cleats, but they also allow Mike to, I don't know, magically teleport to every single enemy on the screen and bash them in the face with the spikes of the cleats. So we use that to our advantage in some places in the run where possible. Unfortunately, it takes a lot of frames to use, so for speed purposes, we can't use it as often as we probably would like to. This room is just silly. I think the developers are like, ha ha ha! Look how stupid this room is with all these tiles you have to hop between.
Yeah. How can we make the mummies threatening again? Let's slow the player down a lot.
Yeah. All right, here we are, the second boss of this dungeon. This is Broken Joe. Broken Joe can only be damaged by these baseball sub-weapons. The baseballs actually can't hurt anybody else in the entire game except for Broken Joe. And that's it. So you play a little carnival game and toss the baseballs into Broken Joe's mouth when it's open, and you just move on through.
Yeah, carnival. That's the first time I've heard someone call it a carnival game, but it's basically what it is. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you better hope that on your casual playthrough that you didn't use those baseballs anywhere, because
right,
if you just run out of them there, you're screwed.
Yep, just got to take a death and try again.
Yep. Yep.
And that's honestly why a lot of people get frustrated by StarTropics, I think, is because it has these like really troll-like situations where you're sort of supposed to. It feels like there's information that the game doesn't give you, but you know, with trial and error.
I personally have never heard anyone complain about StarTropics.
Never.
Not once.
It's a perfect game.
Not in my chat. Not in anyone else's chats. Never. Never have.
You know how people become nose blind to like smells? BugDr is like StarTropics criticism blind.
True.
Shout outs to the Space Invader in the water here, by the way. Okay, so this is the second dungeon of Chapter 6. It is my favorite dungeon personally, because there's just a lot of cool execution in here. A lot of crazy enemies, and so you get to use the asterisk sub weapon, which you throw 2 of these little ninja stars, and then you can hit the button again, and they'll shoot off to the side, which is a really cool mechanic.
Makes it's really unique
enemy kills.
Really unique weapon, and unfortunately, it's the only dungeon we get in. So.
Mm-hmm. So here comes the first boss of this dungeon, and he's gone. That's the problem with the speedrun, right? Like, here are the bosses, and they're dead.
Oh, there it goes.
So that was the clay doll. They just walk towards you really slowly, and they spin around and shoot projectiles at you. But ideally, you do that where you kill them before that happens. These rocky enemies kind of teleport across the screen, and you can only attack them once they appear. This room has 4 of them.
Good.
All right.
Oh, well, that back gets to live, I guess.
It gets to see another day. Those guys are pretty scary.
Those clay dolls. If they touch you, they kill you. So that's why they're so tense.
Yes, that's important. And this next area here, the has 2 clay dolls actually. We'll see how this goes.
Whoops.
And the first one behaved. The other one decided to just screw around over that way. There you go.
It's okay. The hitbox looks wider than it is. Like they got that big wide head, but their hitbox is actually just where their body is, which is so you can actually get close to them, which is not too bad.
Mm-hmm. All right, and 2 bosses definitely wasn't enough. So we have a third one here. This is the twin Simochos. They shoot projectiles at you, and I guess they're dead now.
Yeah, they're dead. So we use the asterisks, and you normally use the asterisks casually when you fight those things. But you can also, a lot of people don't realize, and I didn't realize for a long time, that you can actually, if you jump over to the platforms where each statue is, and you can actually, there's a jumpable space right in front of each head of each statue. So you can jump in front of it and actually kill it with your yo-yo or your shooting star if you run out of asterisks. But A lot of people don't realize that because, I mean, they just fought Broken Joe, who just, if you don't got the baseballs, then you die. Right. So they probably just think it's the same thing.
Nope. All right, so here we are. We find somebody in this cave that looks suspiciously like our father. Oh, it's our uncle. It's Unky Steve. So we find our Uncle Steve, and he tells us this crazy story about how he's been abducted by aliens, and there's these evil aliens that are trying to capture these cubes that were on a meteorite that crashed into Earth, and the game just takes a real left turn at this point story-wise.
I want what Steve's having.
Yeah, right. So then your uncle's like, well, thank you for finding me, but you have to save the world from the evil aliens. So here, go into the spaceship and fight the aliens. And you're like, all right, Unky Steve, you got it.
He's like, I'll wait here. I'll wait here for you, Mike.
Yes. So this is now chapter 7, and we're gonna go fight aliens now. So
yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
All right, this dungeon here, the first dungeon, chapter 7, is famously called the bottleneck because it is definitely the spot where runs come to die. So I'm going to be pretty quiet here as BugDr traverses through this dungeon.
Oh. He spooked me here when he shot that quick.
Lots of aliens to maneuver through. Don't want to take much damage here.
Uh-oh. That's not good.
Oh, okay, so we got Yo-Yo. We'll see what happens. It's all up to the game now. There we go.
Okay. That was actually not too bad.
All right, there we are. So you want to get to that area with the shooting star intact, if possible, but you have to have at least 6 hearts. The reason you want to have the shooting star is because those speeder bikes can't really be killed very easily without the shooting star. You can kill them with the yo-yo, as BugDr showed off, but it's the timing is really difficult, and if 2 of the bikers stack up next to each other, you're gonna take a hit. So
yeah, they gave us a good pattern. Luckily, a lot of them they can basically spawn either on your like horizontal plane or anywhere, like I think within 2 spaces north and south. So they have a higher chance of stacking if you're right at the bottom, because anything that would spawn lower than you will just spawn on that bottom tile. So luckily they let me go. So
yes,
went pretty well.
So, good bottleneck. There are a lot of backups for that bottleneck. There's like a whole bunch of, like, casually, there are a lot of ways to get through
Guns.
There. There's a gun. There's like there's some cleats that you can pick up. There's an item that fills up all your health. So yes. So we just got one of the, yeah, we got a lot of drugs and guns. So we just got picked up one of the magic cubes. And the magic cube filled us with power and gave us an upgraded weapon. So now we have our third and final weapon, our main weapon, which is the supernova. The supernova does 3 damage per hit and is capable of attacking the entire range of the screen. Oh.
Okay, he's just
okay. Wow,
he's saying hi today. Apparently,
that alien's name is Jeff. And he's a royal pain in the butt.
For me,
I'm talking lore-wise, like that's his name, you know.
Yeah. Oh, nice. They didn't behave at all.
So yeah, this is the final. Yeah, that's a really bad pattern.
Come on.
What the hell's going on here? That one didn't even stop. So this is the final dungeon before the last chapter. And as the music shows, it's pretty intense. Lots of stuff to deal with. A lot of aliens, a lot of enemies that do just a lot of damage. BugDr showing off and skipping the space drugs.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs.
What's with these heart drops?
Oh man, my gosh, alien heart. Nom nom.
Tasty. I did some weird. I got a heart drop from a space rider as well.
Oh, did you? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I wish I wouldn't grabbed it, and then it was out of the way. So
yeah. So we just got a sub weapon called the shield gun. It has like a super wide attack. It can attack the 3 tiles in front of Mike, 3 tiles wide. So it's super helpful, especially against that boss. Yes, it does 4 damage per attack. Is the strongest weapon in the game. So it's we use it to our advantage. Almost got all the satellites there. All right, we're gonna pull off a little buffer strat here to get over these heat tiles. That buffer strat essentially allows us to get over the tiles without taking any damage. And here we are at the boss of this dungeon, Ostroid. You're supposed to attack Ostroid and keep it on the back right of the platforms there. Hit a button and then the floor will fall beneath it. Technically, that's supposed to be the only way that you can kill Ostroid, but there are other ways.
Yes.
Other much cooler, but almost task level style ways of killing Ostroid. Ostroid essentially like has the ability to recover health every time that Ostroid moves a tile. So as long as you can deal all the damage to Ostroid before it moves a tile, you can technically destroy it. But dealing that much damage in 1 tile of movement is not an easy feat.
Yeah, there's like kind of a setup where you get some extra ammo for the orange gun, and just kind of lay into him when he jumps forward. And sometimes it works, but also like if he hits you, we got a health refill up here, and so taking any damage here costs time. So yeah, it's definitely a risky strat, and sometimes you don't really get a payoff for it.
If you're going to be sticking around for the next speedrun after this, StarTropics 2, this is important to note here. And of course you are, because why wouldn't you watch StarTropics 2? Yeah, why wouldn't you?
This white knuckle throw ride.
At the end of this chapter, as BugDr said, it does refill your health to maximum. And the more damage you take in Chapter 7, the longer that refill is going to take. So you want to end with full health. That's going to become even more important in StarTropics 2, so remember that.
Yeah. There's definitely going to be some real Resident Sleeper moments in StarTropics 2 when I no doubt take a lot of damage and have to get refilled on each tetrad.
All right, so we have collected the second of the 3 cubes, and it gave us the power of full health. So we have
oh wait, it's
2
gone.
Full lines. Oh yeah, no, it's all gone. Oh geez, okay, well.
Oh man.
Mike didn't have a very good time on that ship lifting off, I guess.
No.
So we just found out who the real big bad is of the game. It's Zoda the Invader here, and he is the one who is trying to capture these 3 cubes, and for unknown reasons, and which become more apparent as the game ends.
Now I'm paranoid about him. Just
I know. I saw that pattern. I was like, oh geez, here he goes. If you get hit by this by Zoda's head here, it instantly kills you. There is you notice that during one of those attacks, there was a hand, a long-nailed hand that came and attacked Mike. Those are RNG driven, but there is a way to manipulate it so that the hands don't appear as often, and that's by holding down during the boss fight. Essentially takes your percent chance of a hand from like 40, or percent chance of a head appearing from like 40% to like 70%. So yeah, it's definitely worth holding down during that fight. Before that manipulation was discovered, it was not uncommon to have 7, 8, 9 hands appear during a fight. Alright, we have to destroy the reactor here, and oh my goodness, there you go. For 1 cycle reactor and an alien heart to boot. Alright, and here we go. Climbing the blasted innards of the ship to the final fight. Zoda Prime.
Oh, he's gonna be weird.
Here comes Zoda. Alien Zoda. Zoda's true form. Ugh. Do not want to take damage from Zoda because it is instant death. He's gonna dance around and be weird.
Yeah.
He knows it's a marathon, so he's showing off his stuff there.
What the heck? Could be close to dead.
Yeah, he's
Here it is.
There we go.
Time.
And that's time.
Yeah, 104. Oh, and there we got this. We got the skip. So this is exactly why we can explain why we split on the death of Zoda.
Yeah.
So there's a glitch that can happen. Yeah, sorry. I'll take over.
Yeah, you go for it. You go for it.
There's a glitch that can happen when you fight Zoda, and basically when you kill him, if he had spit out, he can spit out these little like spidery Zoda spawn enemies. If he has spit out 2 or more of them, then you get to play the ending of the game, which is a really, really nice and cool ending. If he doesn't, which he usually, in the speedrun, we're usually close enough to him that it kind of prompts him to not spit them out as much. You just get this weird skip where it goes directly to the ending slideshow without the really good music that goes along with it. So it's just kind of happens. So it's not really something you can control, whether he spits those out. So that's why we split on Zoda's death. As soon as he does death animation, that's when we on the run. So yeah. That was okay. Yeah. There's just some weird stuff that happened in that run, but overall it went. 104. I'm not gonna scoff at that. So
yeah, can't scoff at a 104. That was good. Good run.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you for the commentary, chat. I hope you enjoyed that run. We're gonna be back in a moment here with StarTropics 2 as well.
Yes, indeed.
A lot of people don't realize there was a sequel because it came out in 1994 when everyone was playing their Super Nintendo. So. But yeah, so I guess we'll see you. We'll take a break, and then we'll see you in a moment for StarTropics. It's just weird with the music, It's like all dead silent, strange. It's throwing me off. But yeah, we'll see you in a few minutes for StarTropics 2.